Welcome back to Live Bold and Boss Up. It's your girls, Steph and Ash, back at it again. And today we have a great chat with Nicole Idziak and Danielle Sherwin from Baystage Live. They're sisters. They are third generation business owners of this company. The company's been around since the 50s, and they do any kind of event from like weddings to like concerts to different events. So if you are interested or need someone specializing in that, let us know. We'll hook you guys up. But the dynamic between these two is really cute. It kind of reminds me of how Steph and I are, except for they like to argue a little bit more than we do.
Well, I think their dynamic is so fun because like they will just say whatever's on their mind, and then they'll have no problem being like, no,
right,
I don't agree with that. But it's like in such a loving, sisterly way.
Yeah.
That they were so much fun to talk to.
Yeah, it was a really great conversation. I think we learned a lot from them just about how you can jump into business without knowing what the business is, and really hiring people that are smarter than you in that particular area, right? And not being afraid to say, okay, hey, you know more about this than I do. And really leveraging their employees' knowledge and then their knowledge to grow the business and change it. It's really admirable. It's inspiring too, right? Because this shows that you don't need to know everything about a particular business to start one.
Yeah, or be technical.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of fun. It's very insightful. So enjoy.
All right. So let's start from the top. Where do we start? How about telling us a little bit about when did you find out you get to have this opportunity to even purchase this company? Like that must have been really cool time.
We didn't have a choice.
You didn't have a choice. It was like the Godfather said.
It was like mom and dad went out. What do you want to do?
Yeah, they were done.
Okay. They were done. So it was a matter of, they basically came to us and said, we're done. If you guys don't take this over, we're done. Like they didn't even care what they got out of it. They were done. So neither one of them were business people. My father was a salesperson and he's always worked in the liquor and wine business. My mother was a first grade, second grade teacher all of her life. So for them, I think it had run its course and there were some challenges that they just didn't want to deal with anymore. And they were ready to retire and enjoy their grandkids, and they checked out. So
that was great of them to be like, hey guys, do you want to do this?
Yeah.
And so were you guys like, oh yeah, obviously I'm in? Like,
no,
where were you in that stage of your life? Like, were you on a totally different trajectory?
I still had, Cole was 2-ish when we were 2.5 or whatever. And I was like, I'm mommy first for me all day long. And I was not ready to be working all day and not spend time with him when he wasn't in school. So I was not ready. Like this was not the timing. I was ready if my kids were in school full time.
Right.
But he was not. I did not want to miss those preschool years, which this has still afforded me the opportunity to be involved in that. But it was a lot of work for the past, year and a half, I would say. Yes, it's been a lot of work.
And this is a third generation family owned company. So this is like your family's baby. So like no pressure.
Right.
Take it over.
Right.
And just having that opportunity, like Ash said, I think is amazing. But then, yeah, it has to be a lot of pressure whenever you're not even like, that's not what your mind was set on. Like, I'm going to take over the company.
And it was never really discussed. There was never really a plan put forth with a succession plan with my parents and us. Like we never discussed it. Like it was never something that was put on the table. But going back to the third generation, so my mother's godfather started the business in 1957 because he had a love for theater, and where he found his passion was in stage lighting. And so that's how Baystage Lighting was found or born. And then he started getting sick. We're talking about 1957 and 1998. So what is that, 40 years? He started getting sick. His health started declining. And my mother and father wanted to own a business. And my mother and father met in theater and musical theater. So they always kind of had a love for the entertainment industry and theater, and they had both worked at Baystage lighting when they were younger and in their younger adulthood. So they kind of, when Sam's health started declining, they kind of felt like, oh, this is an opportunity for us to own a business and something that we can pass on to our daughters. And I think this all stemmed from when my father worked for Seagram's. He was laid off and he had a really hard time finding a job because of his age, because of his qualifications, that whole like overqualified. And
Oh yeah,
this
that
was
time
back
in the
in
market.
the 80s.
Yep.
Late 80s. So I think he really struggled with that. And I think it left a mark on him. And he was like, I never want my kids to have to worry about where they're going to find work. So I think that was a big motivator for them to purchase this business from Sam. So then this happened in 1998. They purchased the business. Had just graduated from high school. So I had already kind of done all my, high school things. My mom and dad were involved in everything, but this timing really fell in the height of Danielle's involvement in junior high and high school. So I feel like it's more about that, as far as like Danielle feels like she was, well, I'll let you speak on that, but I feel like there was a little bit of miss as far as my parents being involved in Danielle's growing up because of them taking on this business, which they knew nothing about.
It took a lot of their time throughout those, impressionable years in my life. Not that it affected, that much. They were still there. They weren't by any means absent parents, but it was always Baystage this, Baystage that. We got to go to Baystage,
Right.
It was a
summers at
different-
Baystage,
Yeah. Did
It
you
was a
guys
different
work there
dynamic.
then for the summer?
She worked there. I filed,
Yeah,
I mean, you were in junior high school when
I
this
was
all
in-
started.
98. I was in 8th grade. I was going into 9th grade.
Yeah. So I feel like there's a double part of it, right? Like, so yes, it's a family business and we want to carry on the tradition. But at the same time, it's kind of like, we didn't give up our lives and our parents to just let this, fall flat. Like we're going to make something of it.
I love that. I literally just got goosebumps whenever you
Aw.
said that, because it's so exciting. Like, because now, like, it's already a very successful company. It's been around for so long. And then now it's in new hands, sisters, which is totally cool. I want to get more into that, working with your sister in a little bit, but like, you now want to take it to that next level, which, hasn't been done before. Going through, we talked about some mergers and acquisitions, growing the company. You went from like 12 to 23 in a matter of a short amount of time.
In less than a year, because we haven't even hit our 1 year mark. We've doubled our staff, which, I mean, I'm proud of that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's not just, let's just double our staff. I mean, it's profitable still. So,
That's great. Yeah.
I think that's a big deal.
That's
So
awesome.
what's been like the biggest thing that you've had to learn, right? You get this opportunity to purchase this business that you know nothing about, but like, what's the first thing that you guys did? How did you get yourselves up to speed with, okay, where are we? Where do we want to go? Did you have to kind of just crash course that and like figure it out really quickly on what you
So
needed
we've
to
been
do?
working in the business for many, many years. Like Danielle, we
Growing
didn't
up.
really work there when they first bought the business, but we both have been very involved in running the business for the last 5 to 10 years.
Okay, so you knew
So we
where
were
it's
already- yeah.
been.
Yes.
We
You're
already
up to
knew
date
what
on
we were getting
that.
ourselves into.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you already know where you wanted to take it? Or was that a kind of a decision on, okay, when you're buying the business, you're like, okay, where do we want to take this? Like, before we get into this, where are we going?
We knew that we were willing to take more risks than our parents were. We knew there was an opportunity to acquire another company. We knew there was an opportunity out there, and there were talks, prior to COVID. And then, that obviously kind of fell off the table because, nobody was doing anything during COVID. And then it kind of came back on the table. And then once the decision was made that we were going to move forward with purchasing the company, we knew that we needed to make that acquisition happen as well, because that was an avenue where it was a win-win, because the owners of AVSS were getting into their retirement years.
Okay.
And their family members weren't stepping up to purchase. So we knew that it was going to help
we had a long time partnership with that company. We always, they've used us, we used them. It was a long time partnership, and it was just
It made sense.
it made sense. There was no, if we didn't do that, it would have been really silly.
Right.
Is it hard for your parents to not still be involved, or
Oh
are they
my
still
gosh.
involved? Because I can
Yes
only
and no.
imagine.
Yes and no. So I feel like I talk to my mother 17 times a day. Like, she will talk one time, and I think she's satisfied with that. We talk 100 times, and it is constant. What's going on at the office? What's going on? What's going on with this person? What's going on with that person? Even yesterday, she said, Dan, we need to talk about this tomorrow. And my mom's like, why? What's going on? What's happening with that? Like, she just can't.
Right.
It's funny.
But at the same time, she doesn't want to be dealing with it, but she wants to know everything that's going on with it. And my dad too. He's not as in my ear as my mom is, but they both, I think it's hard for them to take a step back. They want to know why we're doing what we're doing and what we're doing. And they
interesting.
They want it to be successful, and they just want to give their advice. They're experienced, many, many years. I mean, my dad's 74 or something, so they have life.
Right.
They have life experiences that they want to make sure that we're not making mistakes.
Well,
and
that's
they're
great, because you
supporting us.
kind of have like these advisors if you choose to use them, or bounce, things off of them if you really need to. Which is
I
wonderful.
choose to use them. She chooses
Right.
not to.
Right. So, okay. So you knew already like
That's
the
not true.
culture.
I'm
that you
just
built.
joking.
I pick and choose what I wanted.
I love it.
As an advisor, right? I mean,
Right.
just take everybody's advice.
Right.
You have to process what they're giving you and take into consideration a lot of things, and their past and your past, and what you want your future to be and what their future was going to be. And then you make your decision from there.
Right. Okay. So you already knew like the culture and everything. So how did you keep that culture, or, create that culture into what you needed, and then keep it when you were kind of buying other companies and then adding all of those employees? You doubled your staff. How do you maintain that culture that you've always had?
I do believe that, so AVSS is the name of the company that we acquired. And I do believe that we had very similar cultures. I don't feel like there was any kind of shock or any kind of, anything crazy. We have been a part of the culture of Bay Stage Lighting and then Bay Stage Live for many years. So when we added AVSS in, I think that a lot of our staff was excited about the merger. And I think AVSS was a little bit, their employees, I think they were excited, yet also maybe a little bit like, oh, like what's going to happen? And I think that we've worked really hard to make sure that everyone knows that we are a family business. And once you come and you work for Bay Stage Live, you're part of our family. And you're always going to be part of our family, regardless of whether you leave or stay, or, we are a true family business. And I feel like we've done a good job of making them realize that we are a true family business. Like, no one's going anywhere. I mean,
like everyone has their value, and you see that. And
right.
Yeah.
As long as our values are aligned, we're going to keep forging forward. Yeah.
We talked briefly before about just being understaffed and how that's a big problem right now. Actually, probably more a couple years ago. But being understaffed and then people feeling overworked. Like, how do you see that?
Well, I think the tides are turning. I think that we're seeing a lot more talent coming out of the woodwork, like maybe even moving to town. I think that I feel like I'm doing a lot of the talking. I feel like
I usually put my foot in my mouth, so I'm just gonna
I feel like the growth in Tampa has been somewhat a part of this. I feel like there's a lot of people looking for work right now, and we're capitalizing on it. I mean, we've got some great people that are coming our way looking for work, and we are right now kind of weeding through, we're interviewing them, we're doing talent assessments, and we're just kind of making sure it's important to us that we put the right people in the right positions.
Right.
So when we see talent, we're like, come on, let's talk. Let's see where you fit in. And if that means we have to reorganize our entire company to make sure that we put the right talent in the right place, we're willing to do that. And we have done that. We're in the process of doing that. I feel like we're always doing that, but not to a fault. We're also very reserved about how we're
not going to bring anybody in if they don't fit our vibe. And there's too much, there's there's a lot of people looking for work, but there's also positions that we need specific people for.
Right.
And we're not just going to bring on somebody that we don't feel like fits it, because once you're part of us,
You're stuck.
we like, we really do
You're
like, we
stuck
start
with
to
us.
love you.
Yeah.
Maybe, unless we don't love you, but we really start to love the people, and we don't want to let anybody go. Like, that's not fun. That is awful.
Yeah.
So
You have a lot of technical positions that you have, and are you able to like teach them, or not you, but maybe your managers or whoever over that department, are they able to teach them those technical pieces, and you hire on culture, or are you hiring on culture and the technical side?
We're hiring on technical and
people
culture.
have to love the industry. People, I mean, it is nights, it is weekends, it is, I mean, you have to love what you do. You have to love seeing an event come together from nothing to the end. And you have to know how to plug in microphones and make sure the sound and use the boards. You have to know all of that stuff.
What? That was very technically said.
I'm going to speak technically.
I would say the same thing.
You want to know what our budget is and how to pay my bills, I got you covered. But as far as that stuff, that's why we have amazing people that do that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that stuff. I'm not ashamed to say that I don't know that stuff. That's not where my specialty is.
Mhm.
So no, we definitely, people have to know what they're doing. They have to have the right credentials to do that type of role, but they also have to fit with our culture.
Yeah.
Danielle,
Oh God.
with your sister as business owners, partners, we were just talking about, we love the dynamic between the two of you and all that. And I hope our listeners capture that. But like, how is it working with your sister?
It's a roller coaster.
I'm sure.
I think that, first of all, we are not, I don't think that we would be friends if we weren't sisters. Okay. I'm going to say that. And I don't mean that in a nasty way, but her personality versus my personality, I think we're very different. Like, I say that, but then a lot of my friends are very similar to my sister, but I don't know that we would be like the best of friends, and we were not the best of friends growing up, but I think that our personalities really balance each other out. And I think that is what is amazing in our business. I think people know what they're going to get with her, what they're going to get with me. And they probably play us against each other a lot, to be honest, but we also play our personalities against each other as well. But being partners with someone who is family, which can mean different things to different people. Some people's families are, whatever. Ours, I think we have an amazing family, but knowing that they're always going to have your back, like, and she's going to be straight up, and I'm going to be straight up, Danielle, you're being defensive. Stop. I mean, I can't tell you how many times she says that to me. Makes me want to
Trigger word.
but I mean, it's true. And then I have to, before I have a conversation with her, I have to be like, Danielle, don't get defensive. Don't get defensive. Like,
and then your daughter cheers you on.
Exactly. I think we balance each other out. I really wouldn't want to work with anybody else, to be honest. Don't ask me that every day, because I might change my answer. But today I like working with her.
I think there's a level of trust that comes with being sisters. And I think that, there are many families that maybe that isn't there, because we have seen some families. I mean, in our own families, we have seen some divides that are really sad. But I do feel like her and I are adamant that, each other first. Like, we're not going to betray each other. It's not even like on the table. Like, it's not even something that I don't even think it's something that we're ever going to have to worry about. Mark my words. So I feel like that is something that, like, I don't worry about money or, any kind of distrust in any way.
She doesn't even know how to get into our bank account. Just saying. I'm just joking. Yeah,
she doesn't realize, but I do. The bank account. But I don't feel like I need to worry about any of that kind of stuff. And I don't think that she needs to worry about me like stealing money, even though I do know how to get into the bank account. I can see what she does. But I just think that that's kind of a big deal to have that kind of comfort with your business partner. And maybe we're naive. Maybe all business partners go into business thinking that way, but I don't know. I just feel like that's something that is never, at least for me, I would never let money, which I think is the big thing that divides partners and families. I would never let that. I mean, I'd rather not have the money than,
there's been a lot of tiffs in our family in the past few years, close family members that don't speak or haven't spoken, and we talk about it all the time, and we're like, this is ridiculous. This is just dumb. Like, let's not. And I think that we both can appreciate that life is short, family's valuable, people you love are important. Like, why hurt somebody over some of the nonsense that people choose to come in between relationships? It's just, to me, it's unnecessary. So I don't need that in my life. We don't need to.
We don't have time for that.
No,
Yeah.
not if we're going to take over the world.
And I don't think our kids would let us do that anyways, because they're like this. I mean, there's three, they're very close.
And our parents wouldn't. I mean, my mom even thought that we were not talking, she'd start crying. Like, I mean, she cries about everything, but that would not be okay with our family.
I love that. So it's really like the trust thing. You have like this impeccable, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't always agree.
No,
Right?
we
We're
don't
actually,
always
there's
agree.
a situation right now that we're really on two completely different sides about, that we're trying to figure out, and we need to come up with a solution like today.
We're not completely on different sides, but we are,
I feel very strongly one way, and she feels a little
less strongly that way.
Right.
So, I mean, we got to work through it. I mean, what's the other option? We have to.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like it's okay to have disagreements. Like, that's what like couples have, and everyone has. You're not always going to be on the same page, but working it out.
And you
like
grow from every one of them, right? Like, you're not learning if you're not disagreeing and hearing different sides and
exactly
understanding other points of view. I mean, that's how you learn and grow. So,
So Danielle,
Oh, geez. Okay. I'm ready.
where do you see Bay Stage Live in the next 5 to 10 years?
I just want us to grow. I want our employees to have work-life balance. I want them to be happy. I want them to enjoy what they do and enjoy being part of our team. I don't like to look at it as they're working for us. Like, we are a team. We are absolutely nothing without them. Like, I repeat, we are nothing without them, because we could not make a show run.
so loud.
We could not make a show run and be as beautiful as it is without them. And they, each and every one of them, are special in their own way. And I just want them to be happy, and I want to grow, and I want to be, like she said previously, we want to be profitable. And that's all I want. I want to be comfortable. Like, I want everybody to be able to live comfortably. And I keep saying the same thing. That's it.
That makes sense.
Profitability is really important, though. We can't grow if we're not profitable. And there's really no point in being in business if we're not making money, because we all have to pay our mortgages and our rent payments that we put on the table. I think it's important that we're making money and we're enjoying our lives. And we can only do those things if we're profitable.
We have employees that work around the clock. I mean, I'm telling you, this one employee just took a vacation that she hasn't had in probably over a year. And because she just is constantly doing what's best for Bay Stage. And I want her to be able to have 3 vacations a year and do what's best for Bay Stage. I just want us to have enough people to be able to support everyone's happiness.
Love that.
What's a typical event look like for your team?
We do from a small church production, wedding, to large corporate events, to outdoor concerts, to, I mean, GMF, we were there. If anybody knows, I mean.
Yeah, so we do a lot of outdoor festivals. We do a lot of corporate meetings and conventions, a lot of nonprofit galas. But our business is a live event production company. So we do any type of production, from sound to video to lighting, special effects, staging, the whole 9 yards. We do it all.
Yeah. Well, y'all are growing and building something amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all your success. And I know it's
you.
going to be very successful in the future. And I'm excited to see what that looks like for you all, for both of you and your company. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very
you
much.
for coming on here today.
Yeah,
Wow.
thanks
It's
for having
been
us.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've
love it.
loved
Both of
watching
you.
you guys chit chat, like back and forth, your dynamic. It's been amazing. I love it.
So thank you so much. And thank you to our listeners. And please like, rate, subscribe. And until next time.
Live bold and boss up.